So this is session 2 of 4, Changing the Lost, using Powered by the Apocalypse. It's a hack that I've done. This is experimental. It's a lot of urban shadows, some masks, and some other tech, and we're seeing how it works. This is sort of a playtest, sort of not. I'm more interested in playing because I super enjoyed the character creation last time. I had mentioned last time that I wanted to stop 15 minutes early, and then I didn't because the scene was so much fun and I didn't want to cut it off. So I am going to try and stop 15 minutes early today so that we can do roses and thorns and talk about anything that we need to. We did make one mechanical change. We reworded one of the fairest base thing to make it a little clear about where it can't be used and where it can be used. Because the original wording was a little limiting. So we did make that change on that. So I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, and then I will sort of set up where we are. We'll take a break at the midpoint through the session, and those are the details. So that is it. Introducing Morosa. Please, let's start with you. I'm going in the same order as I did last time.
Oh, okay. So Morosa is a witch-tooth ogre. She likes people. She wants people to like her. It's kind of hard. She hasn't figured out how you get that to work precisely, but she keeps trying. She is really well suited to have been a member of Summer or Autumn, so of course she chose the Spring Court. She is earnest, she loves her motley, and she will do anything for them. Also for spinning Ginny. And I think that's a decent introduction.
That's a good summary. Gleaming Zach.
All right. Gleaming Zach is a Levin Quick elemental. He's a lightning elemental. He's the odd man out for the motley in that he's in the winter court rather than the spring court like everyone else. But he has intense emotions and he needs to express them in a certain place. He's a little weird for normal society. He doesn't quite understand the permanence of objects or the importance that people place in their ownership of said objects, but people tend to like having him around. He's useful for information gathering. He's useful for some other things, and he seems to be pretty easy to talk into things, so that's always nice.
Excellent. Let's talk about Camilla the Sweet.
Camilla the Sweet is a fairest from the Spring Court, and she's born, or rather made, courtier. So she's beautiful, she's charming, and she's a control freak who strives for perfection and position in the court.
Awesome. And finally, Thicket Flicker Jacket. I'm going to try. Thicket was the one I had the most problem with remembering the name of. I am going to desperately try and hang on to it in my head this time, and I'm not going to succeed. So, Thicket.
No problem. Thicket Flicker Jacket is a beast spring steep scrambler. He is a young child, maybe 12 or so, seems to be going around, has liberal ideas of ownership of items, and he spent a lot of time in the other world, so he's actually more mature than he looks, sort of, and that's probably a good introduction.
Okay. So the group, we did a character creation last time. We established the roles and your connections. You have ties. We established your connections to various NPCs, and one of those that connects all 4 of you, besides certainly the motley thing, is the idea that Spinning Ginny, who is the pledge crafter and fate spinner for the Freehold, bound your motley together in the motley contract, but also got drawn into your fate as well. in sort of the fifth person in that. And so the session we had last time was a gathering of the summer court, essentially their July 4th celebrations, talking about the various martial forces, about the encroachment of things within Detroit from the hedge, uniforms and martial music and so on. And in the midst of that, there was a ruckus, a altercation. You went out there and you found a gentleman who looks ogreish, who is named Three Iron Sour. He has had with him a couple of other changelings, and he was there to take Spinning Ginny away, and to take her away because she was or is his fiancée. You four got into it with him. There were some discussions, both legal and otherwise, and somebody's hands went in a pocket and tried to maybe get something off of him. Got a little changeling finger trap caught on them.
Went exactly as I planned.
Yes. So you do have that trap. Three Iron Sour said that he would return in 3 days. He mentioned that Regardless would know what was who he was. Spinning Ginny took off, clearly frightened by what had happened. And when he went in to speak to Regardless, she confirmed that Three Iron Sour was an exile, that he had been gone for 7 years, and then 7 more of a lot of things, and had returned, and that he was her predecessor. So he is the former Prince of Spring. I have taken the liberty of adding Prince pictures to the NPC pages there, so I've put all 4 of the Prince's images in there. I'd like to jump forward, if I may, kind of move the frame a little bit, have you guys together, and then you can decide where you want to go, if you want to do something together or we want to split off. But take up not long after the party. It would have, after all of that disturbance, it would have broken up pretty quickly. Regardless, having answered your question, would have taken her inner circle and headed off, though not taking you along there, Camilla. The people that she's grabbed are her 2 oldest people who might know the Three Iron Sour situation. But the others have headed out, and Ginny is nowhere to be seen in the immediate aftermath of this. So do you think we should frame the scene sort of in the empty hall of the Commons? Oh, sorry, I'm going to let you get sound back. I should keep talking so that you can tell if it's muted. We'll give him just a second. You good? Okay. So do you think we should frame it sort of in the empty hall of the Commons, or shall we cut to your hollow, essentially that hotel, or do you want to frame it somewhere else? What do you think?
Maybe some kind of Changeling pub or bar or restaurant that is nearby the place that's nearby the party was. Something like that.
So yeah, that makes sense. That near the Commons there is a bar that is run by a changeling, and she manages things there. She has special brews brought to her by Semolina Pilchard. for various changing, but of course she serves normal people as well, and she's an elemental, but you're not quite sure what kind she is. She seems to be like an elemental abstraction. Sometimes you see multiple images, like after images of her going and doing things in the back and stuff, and she's a little off. Sometimes she answers your questions before you ask them, or maybe an hour later after you've asked them. Like, she's not quite there all the time. But we'll take up. So the four of you are in this pub. What do you suppose is the prominent decoration of the pub, Morosa?
Oh, let's see here. I think that actually it's done in, if you were to look around, you could see that the pub actually has a sort of winter, spring, summer, fall kind of decor that goes around. It's not strong enough that it's explicit, but the colors change. It goes from white to the greens and brights, and then to the sort of deep greens and yellows, and then into reds of the seasons. And there's a little bit of like the pictures and stuff have some of those themes in it. So I would say that was part of it.
Nice. And this is probably be another place that is considered sort of neutral ground for the freehold as a whole. So you guys, the four of you are there. Drinks have been provided, and you can discuss what you wish to do.
So I think Zach has like a couple of drinks lined up in front of them. One of them is a glass of water, which he's staring at in sort of trepidation. He's still got this bear trap on his fingers. He takes a couple of deep breaths and just sticks it in the water.
Okay. And there is that feeling of pressure for a moment when you're like, oh, it's a bad idea. But then the object will actually disintegrate. It fades to what looks like food coloring and little pebbles in the bottom of the glass.
And I think I'll sort of reach out and grab Thicket's hand, because 3 Iron Sour had said it would hurt like hell when it came off. So I'm just like braced and prepared and trying not to squeeze his paw too hard.
Yeah, it was more the fear was actually stronger than the pain that you got there. So
Okay. And I think Morosa will go, can I have that glass?
Sure. That wow. Okay. Thanks. Thicket. That wasn't as bad as I thought. I guess. Yeah. You want the glass? Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then essentially I get a lid for it, and I put it in the freezer because it's the only sympathetic thing that we have to 3 Iron Sour at this point.
Okay.
Nice.
So you have a glass beer mug with some Fey creation detritus freezing away in the freezer there.
Exactly. I put a sign.
A Post-it note
yes.
on it. Nobody drinks it. Camilla, what about you? What's your take on this?
Well, I think I'm drinking some kind of white sparkling wine, and I'm like fiddling with the edge of the glass and saying, okay, do Ginny really needs our help to help her?
You're cutting out a little bit there, Meichi.
Okay, I need to relocate then. I think I need to get back indoors. Just
okay.
Give me 1 minute.
Absolutely.
little action sequence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now there are dogs chasing.
Set upon.
Okay, now it should be. Hopefully, it's going to be better now. Okay, so can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. So I'm fiddling with the glass, and I'm asking, do we really need and want to help Ginny? Does she need our help? Does she want it? Do we want to intervene into this? And I'm like looking carefully at each of the motley members.
And Morosa's like, yes, we have to help her. I mean, it seemed like she needed help in the room. Didn't you think so, Camilla? I mean, was I seeing things? She looks at the other two.
No, she looked worried, and it's weird. He Three Iron Sour seemed to think he just owned her, like he'd just take her like property.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
That wasn't nice, indeed. I'm looking at Thicket. Thicket, right? Yes, Thicket.
So I think Thicket actually is, in and out of the booth, probably, poking his nose around the corner to see what other people are talking about. But, whenever you bring up Jenny, it was like, well, I don't like whenever people get bullied like that. And I think she's been, this guy just smells like a bully. The way he treated her just seems like, yeah, he didn't think anything of her. So if she goes off with him, it's just going to get worse for her.
Yeah, people don't get to act like that. Not on this side of things.
I not slowly. Okay.
Just seemed like she didn't like him. And I mean, if you got tricked, Camilla, you'd want someone to help you, right? I mean, it'd be hard to trick you.
Of course. If. Okay, then it's agreed. We need to help Ginny.
All right.
I'm not going to go against you on this. I just wanted to be sure that we are all on the same side. Anyway, I kind of, she kind of did something for me some time ago, so it would be fair to help her a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
So I could talk to her and try to get her to tell me more about this, and maybe try to speak to our oh my god, how is the princess of spring named?
Regardless.
Regardless, and I'm going to talk to Regardless and maybe try to get more information about that guy.
Okay, so you're going to do the talking? That's good. That's the hard part. All right.
And
so
maybe, yeah, some of you could try to find one of his cronies. There was a number of changelings with him. Maybe you could, Morosa, when you
beat him up,
put
okay?
your mind to it, you can squeeze a lot of things out of people. I've seen that happening.
Squeeze them. Yeah, I can do that.
I know where he's coming from the hedge into the city.
What?
Oh. Ooh.
He found a secret door. He found a secret door that he thinks no one else knows about, but I know about it. I know right where it is.
Ho 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 ho. Ho 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 ho. Wait, what does that mean?
It means we can catch him when he thinks no one's looking. We can see what he's doing or where he's been or where he's holding up.
I know we can put a bucket on the door, and then when he goes through, it falls on him.
Okay, that's a strong possibility. I'm not entirely sure if it's actually a fully physical technical door. We'll see, but maybe a bucket full of
curses.
Oh, okay. Actually, no. I'm more on board with this. A bucket full of curses. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Best prank ever.
Maybe you could try setting up some kind of trap for one of his people. You know, he was a like Prince of Spring, so he can be pretty powerful. But one of his, if we could corner one of his cronies, maybe they could tell us something useful.
Okay.
That sounds like a plan.
Did we recognize any of those cronies?
They seem to have, at least the ones that you saw, also seem to have come from outside, along with 3 Iron. But their presence here means that they're somewhere around in the city. They wouldn't have headed out because that travel is daunting. So it might be able to track them down, or at least one of them down.
How common is it in the city to see new changelings show up?
A new changeling is irregular. The city is large, but when changelings come through, there is a kind of a gravity of fate that they will appear. Usually that first meeting is awkward. Like Morosa broke Songbird Rex's nose or arm, I believe. In that, it takes a while to bring new changelings in. So generally, for the freehold, when you see a changeling and you don't recognize them, I mean, you know, generally the people in the freehold. So strangers do stand out. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Is there any sort of, like, I know they showed up at the court, but is there any sort of official presentation or announcement of coming into the city that people have to do, or is it just sort of handled by fate will have them interact with people eventually?
More the latter, yeah.
Cool.
That things will happen. They don't want to push people.
Is there a census? Like, essentially, does it keep a list of all the people, or like have someone who can get messages out to people?
That seems like a reasonable thing. So you say that one of the positions in the court is sort of the census taker. What court does that seem like?
The Court of Fear, whichever that is, doesn't it?
Okay. So that's the court of Autumn. All right. And let's say that is a guy named Phantom Tom. He's a ghost darkling, kind of scrivener. He's one of those people who you rarely see around, but when he needs to show up, he shows up. And he consults with each of the princes and knows who is among the rolls of the courts and who is not, and can carry messages as is needed for, secure ones. Does that seem good?
You mean more secure than the phone trees?
Yes. Yes, because phones can always be listened in on. Changelings don't trust, some changelings don't trust that kind of tech, because who knows who could be listening.
And what was the ghost guy's name again? Sorry.
Phantom Tom.
Do you bring up Phantom Tom, Morosa?
Yes. I'm like, let's ask him. He loves me.
No, that's good. That's a good idea. He said he was from this court just before we got here, so they might be too. There might be information on them.
Truth. Did you get a good look at him? Because I was all furious.
I was sort of paying attention to his pockets. They had coats and dust, right? That should be enough.
He was smoking cigars, and they were stinking. And he had this whole, horns and his jacket. And He tried to look elegant, but it was really too much.
And
These are the
Morosa
sort
looks
of
at
identifying
Flicker.
details.
But Morosa looks at Flicker.
And, you know, he's kind of quiet in the corner and says, you know, I think, so I made sure Ginny, you know, I told Ginny get out, and she left, and I didn't really see too much from the rest of the guys because, you know, they were just mean, but, you know, Ginny might know who these people are.
Oh, that's a
We
good
could find
point.
her, she might be able to tell us more about it.
See, Flicker, you're the best. You just think about those kinds of things. Where do you think she would be? Where does she hide?
I think she has some kind of home. She has a workshop.
Oh,
She's making clothes, among other things, so she has to have a workshop.
That's true. So it seems like we have a set of kind of agendas people want to do. So if it's okay, let me kind of maybe split off and do some scenes. One of the things I tend to do, and I may have said this before, but I'll repeat it again. What I tend to do is we do a scene with a person. Information, of course, is generated by that scene. The assumption is when we get to the next person that they have that information to play with. That has been passed on, unless you specifically say, "Hey, but I'm not passing this on yet." You're welcome to do that, but the default assumption should be that information is being shared between the PCs. That's just a habit, so keep that in mind. So let us start with Camilla. Camilla, you expressed a couple of different goals, speaking to Regardless, tracking down Ginny, other ideas. Where do you want to start here?
So maybe let's split, and I will talk to Regardless, and Morosa, you can talk together with Thicket maybe, or someone else, or all three of you. You can talk to Ginny. Okay. So I will start with Regardless.
Okay. And you will arrive at the hold for the spring court. What do you think that looks like? Where does the spring court have their authority?
I think that would be some kind of like entertainment quarter of the city. So, you know, like a couple of streets where you have a lot of clubs, a lot of small and big establishments, and I would say the spring court has like this large club with another floor where there are rooms and people can spend time there if they want.
Absolutely. It's probably, we've kind of established that it's early in the day, so there is that thing when you arrive there that the workers are getting, you know, things cleaned up, getting tables reset, repairing anything that got broken last night, cleaning up all of that. You're known here.
Yes,
you are.
I think I know.
Yes, an official of the court. So the bouncer at the door, you know, graciously brings you in, and you have a full room to head upstairs to the VIP area.
Yep.
And you'll see, Regardless, she's clearly just finished some of this conversation with her seconds, and they are heading off, and she'll look up and she sees you, understands General while you've come here, and she will rise and say, "It is good to see you, Camilla. Sorry that I had to depart so hastily from the gathering. Please come and sit."
Of course. I'm curtsying, and then I approach her and sit next to her. Is it a table or a sofa, or how does it look?
I like the idea that there's kind of one of those corner sofas, It's a small table there, and you can
Okay.
both sit on it pretty close to one another.
Right. Okay. I wanted to ask you about this unpleasant character that barged into the party earlier today. Who is that? What he's talking about? He really was a prince of spring?
He was the Prince of Spring before me when you've seen him, right? So you know that Spring was not in great hands at that point. Um, I indulge like you in the joy and the pleasure and desire of things, not the comedic buffoonery that Three Iron Sour brought as his method of joy.
Oh, yes, that seems like him. I would put him more as autumn character, to be honest.
Yes. Well, he may have changed. He has been away for some time, but he was a comical clown when he was here, though what he did at the end there was a situation when he approached Spinning Ginny at the time when he was prince, and asked her essentially to be his consort, to be his bride, to offered her the power of the, at that point, very diminished, very, not unlike ourselves today, spring court. And she spurned him. And that led to a series of problems, and I don't necessarily need to go into the details of all of that, but a series of problems, and he engaged in a duel with another member of the court, and it was on that we were able to have him exiled, that there were irregularities in the duel that had happened, and we used that as a, I don't want to say pretext, but that's what I'm going to say, to have him removed and exiled. But there were things that had happened, and Ginny had already entered into that marriage contract.
So, why do you think he wants to cash in on this? I mean, after all these years, does he want revenge, or is it his leeway into the city? Is there anything more to it that can be seen here?
I am certain that he is going to try and use this as a wedge, as leverage to push the other princes to have him restored to the Court of Spring as the prince. And I am certainly not going to rise to that bait. I think he is sound and fury. And here's the thing. When this happened, we spent a good deal of energy assisting Ginny. I mean, getting her out of this contract and getting him removed. So we've already invested a lot into that, and we've done our part. So I don't necessarily want to throw good money after bad, as it were.
So, but you got him out of this got her out of this contract, but it seems that
we delayed the contract.
He So do you think that he is posing some kind of real threat to you? Because I'm not really sure if you, because if there is a real possibility that other princes could listen to him, that this is horrible. I wouldn't want someone like him replacing someone like you. I'm smiling.
Fair enough. I think that giving him too much attention, I mean, that's what he wants. He's like a petulant child. I don't think we can afford to give him too much attention. I will speak with the other princes and see how they feel on this. But for the moment, the Spring Court will maintain its distance to see how things wash out.
Well, if you would like me to take care of this, I think with some help I could deal with this issue for you, so you don't have to think and pay your attention to it. I'm sure you have much more important matters to focus on than some kind of fallen changeling coming out of nowhere.
I certainly have stated to the others that I don't want the Spring Court involved, but I know that you are close to Ginny, as are some of your motley mates, so I certainly can't gainsay or speak against your actions in that. And should this situation be reconciled without drawing the Spring Court into it, I would consider that a favor.
Well, I would be very grateful if I manage to take care of this, not bringing our court into this. If you took that into consideration when you will be naming, okay, I need some kind of position I could jockey for here.
Let me see. I've got some names for those. Let me find where I put those.
Maybe, or if we could assume that she doesn't really have a single second in command now, so I could just say that, if that works.
So jump over the other two that are there.
Yep. I would like to manipulate her, so.
Let's have you roll heart.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go into that. So, one moment. Sorry, okay. So backspace, and that's 9 plus 2, I think.
Yes.
So that's 11.
I will certainly do that if this is done with the grace and care that I know that you can bring to this, and the quiet. Though, of course, I can raise you up, but you may have to deal with the ire of others that you hop over. But you already knew that.
I'm just waving my hand on this. You don't have to give a second thought to this matter.
Then I won't.
I'm bowing and I'm taking my leave.
All right. What's our next scene then? Who and what? I heard Ginny before, or are there other things you want to do? So what do we want to do next?
Do the three of us want to go find Ginny?
One thing. I think I'm going to downplay what I got from the regardless for this. So
okay.
I'm not going to pass that. I'm just not going to give a full extent of this conversation to the rest of the motley.
Okay.
Seems fair.
I think Zach is rather than going to see Jenny, is going off to spy on that hedge entrance.
Okay. So then it'd be Morosa and Thicket. Do you wish to also go?
Yeah, I'd like to go find Ginny.
Okay.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't put the word out. As a beast, I can talk to others of my kind.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to go talk and see if they've seen Ginny. As I recall, one of my debts was I'm protecting Ginny from a stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Her home has been disturbed by terrible job, and she has to move where she lives from time to time. So I don't think that they've messed with her lab, but maybe where she sleeps and where her home is. So I think that I'm going to see if I can't find terrible job who might be after Ginny or just Ginny herself.
Okay. Let me see how we want to do that. Well, you know what? I don't think that's necessarily something that we need to roll on, because you established in the fiction that you've helped her move. So let's assume Thicket and Morosa. Where is the latest place that she has set up?
There is an old Baptist church, which is just a storefront, really. But they had moved on because they got a larger storefront for less money. And she's moved into that. And it's okay because we ripped up all the little like pews that they had. And so she has a lot of space now. But there's these big stacks of pews going up both of the walls in the front area.
And you two will arrive. You know the way to get in, so on, since you helped set this up. And when you come in, you can hear the clattering and the noise of Ginny packing things up when you get there, of her jamming things into bags. And it's taking her a while because she has so much here that's sort of hedge spun. And she has this sort of Mary Poppins style bag that she just keeps putting things into. And she's getting all of that set up. And she jumps when you come. And, you know, great wide eyes. And you can see that she isn't usually armed, but she does have a kind of a wicked set of shears in her hands that she's holding like a weapon, though will be probably tremendously ineffective. And she does that kind of freak out.
I think whenever she startles, you know, I jump up and say, "Oh, it's just Thicket. It's okay. You know, Morosa's with me, and don't worry. You know, she's okay."
Thank you. Thank you for getting me out of that situation. But I have to go now. Stuff. To get in the bag.
Where do you think you can go that this bully won't follow?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll figure that out. If I think it, he'll know it. I don't want. I don't want. I'll figure it out when I get there.
We're trying to track down. We're trying to find out more about him and him coming back, and we're trying to make sure that he seems to have territory that he goes around. So we're trying to watch that. But you know, we need to know more about this situation. So we'd like to help you out. He doesn't look like he looks like he's a destabilizing. You know, he's going to mess up this whole thing we've got going on here. I didn't know you had that. That looks cool. And I pick up like one of the things that she has. I'm like, oh, but we'll miss you if you go, and maybe you shouldn't go.
So you start working on her, Morosa. You're kind of standing by there. She is truly panicked. So I do think you're going to have to make a persuade roll to get her calmed and calmed down and settled. So one of you should make that roll.
So I'll roll that. What is that with?
That's with heart.
Okay. Oh no. That is a 6.
Okay. Morosa, now after the PC is rolled, you can roll with their season if you want to assist them.
I will attempt that because that should be awesome.
Okay.
All right. Oh, it is. I got a 9.
Okay.
So it's a little better than a 6.
Okay. So you can give him advantage, which means that you can roll another die and take the what you rolled the 2 highest.
Okay. So that would be a 9 that I got this time.
All right. So you will get her calmed down, but she wants to be moving. She doesn't want to be in this spot anymore. So essentially, you will kind of have to speak with her as she's moving somewhere else, and go outside. It looks like she's stolen a pickup truck, and so you'll have to go along with her there. Does that seem reasonable?
I will. Yeah, I think I'll crawl up in the pickup truck and, go with her.
Okay. And Morosa, I assume?
Oh, sure. I kind of lean in and I go, I think you need to go by moving water. She goes, sympathetically, that's going to give you the most, you say, it'll be harder to redo. So we got to go by the water.
And she'll start to drive down to the river.
All right. So I'm sitting in the back. I'm making a list. I got a Sharpie. I got a pad of paper, and I write bucket on the top. Okay. So
this is your bucket list?
No, this is my list of curses. So what's going in there is.
She will eventually pull up by the river, as the runoff from the lake here that kind of cuts between Detroit and Windsor in Canada, and she will say, he made me. He tricked me before, and he turned my skills against me. When he was pushing on the courting, I knew it was dangerous, but I spun fate against it. But it never worked out. There were other suitors, and one of them vanished. Another stepped away, and the third he killed. And though we could never prove it, others thought that he had gone to the Hobbs and that he had used a goblin contract to mess with my powers. So it was all my fault.
What was your fault? I don't get it.
I was spinning fate against him, but it was reversed.
Mm-hmm.
And so people died because of that. I don't want that to happen again.
She sort of stops and goes, but he made a goblin contract, right? It means there's a catch sitting out there.
Could never prove anything. I don't know. We don't know if the catch was his exile or something else. We don't know. It was regardless in the others that were able to find a way to get him to leave, but they could only exile him.
Why is he so focused on this? Is there something he's going to get out of this that's bigger than that's worth killing and being exiled for so long?
I don't know. I don't know why he focused on me. He was a clown, but he turned dark.
Is he an ogre?
He
or
is.
A beast? Oh, he's an ogre, that's why. She sort of turns around. Yeah, we just like do what we do all I mean, that's what we do. Right? That's what being an ogre is. Times 10.
So those people who were with him, did were they his friends from before?
No, he left alone. I don't know where he found them.
Okay.
She says, I if you say running water is going to help, I'm going to try that. I'm at least for now. I know where there's a spot, a reservoir let out here. It's not pretty, but I'll go there, and I'll stay there for a bit, and then I'll figure out where I'm going.
She sort of stops and says, then essentially what it is we have to agree on a time that you might call. It has to be a super tiny window, because otherwise you might be able to catch on to us getting in contact with each other. So if you need our help or you need anything from us, you have to call it exactly. I'm going to think of a good time. Oh, I know. 1:23 a.m. or p.m.
Okay.
Okay? You got to watch, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because if you don't flicker, he has like 6 or 7.
All right. I will call.
Okay.
She seems to have been calmed down by your conversation and maybe her realizing that she doesn't know where she would run. So she's clearly going to settle herself into a den and try and figure out what her next move is. Does that seem reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to cut to our elemental. So, Zach, this door that you found, that you read in him, was not that far away, that you read off of the device, as if I recall correctly. And it is actually a downtown store that closed up. It's a shoe repair hospital, and it's Alex's shoe hospital, and they take care of your soul, and all of that kind of puns and jokes on it. But there's that cracked glass window where they've done the tape to keep it together. There's a sign that says undergoing renovations, but it's been closed forever. There's even like shoes sitting in the window that have gathered dust. And it's in that place. So you're going to surveil this and keep an eye out, right?
Yeah. So I think on the way there through the streets, like Zach is walking there from this bar we were at, and he at one point like dips into an alley and goes digging through a dumpster till he comes up with this like ratty old half-torn jacket, overcoat sort of thing. And he's walking down the street and passes like somebody sitting on a bench and reading a newspaper, and just like grabs their baseball cap where they'd sort of hung it on the arm of the bench while he's walking by. Just happily puts that on, and generally looks sort of disguised and disheveled as he gets up to the storefront. And he's going to go through the wires again, fade through the wires, and basically set himself up as like somebody homeless and camping out in the corner of this shoe store.
Okay.
Somewhere hopefully shadowed, but like a little disguised if I get discovered.
Sure. So I think it's not a problem for you to get in there. That is well within your capabilities. Does that seem?
Well, yeah. Well, I just wanted to see. We sort of skimmed over it last time for storytelling purposes, which I appreciated. But for the teleport, I do have that primal forces move.
Right. Right.
Just to see if something goes wrong with me channeling energy.
Does it say we make a roll on that?
Yeah, it's a weird roll just to see if I can get hold to then spend on things like the teleport or call it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So go ahead and make that roll for me then.
All right. So that's a 9, which is 3 hold, but one of these choices. I think I'm going to mark clarity.
Okay. So what is it about calling the primal forces that sort of you find disruptive this time?
I think it's that it seems fine when I call up the forces, but once I step into the wires and step out again, my sight won't seem to quite revert from that seeing the electrical lines everywhere, seeing in energy, having problems with like differentiating non-electrical things and colors and details.
And yeah, so you get that fritzing there that will take a bit for it to finally settle down, and you'll sit and wait.
So I think rather than like the still shape in the corner that might have been a pile of blankets or something, he's very twitchy and sort of looks strung out. It's a bit more obvious than maybe he was hoping.
Okay. This will be a bit sitting there, that dust coming in. There's probably a little bit of the crackle of the static around you for a while, that little hum in your ears, like you're standing next to a power line. And then there will be that feeling that you know of someone invoking the hedge, and you will see these shelves kind of bend at the back and twist, and then the wall kind of bows in, and you'll see this guy, this changeling, not one of the two that you saw with 3 Iron Sour, but another one, step out. And I put a little picture of him in the NPC things. He's got kind of a windbreakery thing on. He's tall, like ogre built, and he's got this face paint that looks like it's permanent on him, this sort of clown makeup.
Why is it always clowns?
And he looks around and sort of shuts the hedge thing, and he goes out walking. So I'm going to have you make a stay strong. This is to keep yourself calm, to avoid any kind of detection. Go ahead and roll with weird.
All right. Oof, just barely. That is a 5 + 2 is 7.
Okay. So he will not see you, but you have left behind, like, there's some static burns on the walls here, some evidence that you've left behind that someone has been here.
Yeah,
okay?
I think maybe part of it is like a very clear handprint on a wall somewhere.
Perfect. And this guy, heads out. And out on the street, do you want to try and follow him?
Yeah, this is someone new we haven't seen before, and I'm not quite sure what's up with him. So yeah, I wanna try and follow him along, maybe from like maybe if I can get up to the tops of buildings through the electrical wires, I can sort of travel along, skipping and watching him that way.
Okay. And we've already
Well,
had
I
you
suppose
roll.
that how tall are buildings around here? If we're in skyscraper territory, that's probably not a great idea.
No, probably not in skyscraper. This would be a sort of an older part of the downtown. So at most, maybe 4 or 5 stories,
Okay.
and maybe some smaller ones. And we've already made you roll to stay strong, to stay hidden. So let's assume that you are able to follow him at a distance without a problem. He will go over to the Commons building, the where the party was, and you will see him very carefully kind of walk the perimeter of the building, like walk the wards, and you'll actually see him stop and look around, and if there's like light poles and things, he goes up to them and licks them to like taste it, and he is very clearly like casing the joint.
I'm sorry, this is where that he's casing?
The Commons, the building that the party was in, the shared place between the different courts.
The Michigan Theater there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's walking that, checking that out. Like he's clearly using some contracts to assay it and judge its strength and so on.
Huh. I'm gonna. How long does he keep this up? Like, is he just making one circuit around the building, or?
Now, he probably spends about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, doing this. He's very careful. It seems like he's done this before. Like this is not the work of an amateur. This is somebody who knows what they're doing, is walking it around, is checking the security, that kind of thing. And eventually he'll finish up, and he heads off to essentially like a 7-Eleven, like a Ready Mart kind of thing, and goes there. Anything you want to do?
After he leaves the area, I want to stop at that first light pole that he stopped at.
Okay.
First, where he started his circuit. And I come down to the ground and just like feel with my hand right where I'd seen him lick it.
Okay.
And I want to try and maybe see if I can get some sort of reading off of this as electricity flickers up and down the metal pole.
Oh, interesting. So you're using your psychometry. It's a little bit distant. You're almost doing it on the saliva itself.
If I can, but if that doesn't work, this seems habitual, and if this is like the key point for his circuit here that he's doing around this building, I'm thinking maybe he's been to this light pole a number of times. It might have picked up an impression over time. But
okay,
we'll see.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your psychometry. You're weird there.
I'd say 9.
Okay. So you're going to get one question.
Ooh. What bans, wards, or limits are attached to this object?
So what you will tell is that this is like a corner piece of the warding here. It's a point where several of the wards on the building intersect, and because they all kind of come together at this point, it's actually a weak point.
So maybe whatever he's doing, he's slipping through this crack right here to start it every time.
Yeah, it looks like this would be the place that if he was going to slip through the protections and so on, that would be where he would do it at. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, shall we cut back to the group together, or do you want to do another go around? What does the group think here? Actually, let's take our 5-minute bio break. We'll come back and then we'll decide how we want to do that. So take 5.
Okay. Cool. I realized after last session and going through my character sheet that just with the way things landed out, I ended up owing a lot of debts and not having a lot owed to me.
It's okay, you're charming. We'll also forgive you.
Yeah, I think the final count was like 7-1.
Here's the thing, you're not too concerned with ownership anyway, so.
Yeah, what is all of this responsibility and owing back and forth people keep talking about? It's above me.
So I've got a couple of questions about mechanical kinds of things. So clarity is sort of the equivalent of corruption in Urban Shadows. But and I think that, so do we each have different clarity triggers on our sheets?
So everybody has on different powers or on different things where clarity can get marked. A lot of it comes from abilities that mark clarity, and sometimes it might be hits that come up. So generally they're the same across the board. But what comes out of clarity, the clarity moves, those are different for each of you.
So I have a clarity trigger that's whenever you value loyalty over other considerations, mark clarity. And I think in this situation, being as, as loyal to Ginny as I am with, the scary old boss, I think that I should have at least marked clarity this session, if not last session as well.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's a perfect thing to do, because that is a real sort of adult-sized threat, and you're putting yourself out in the open on that. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something. Good.
No, one of the things, of course, is I tend to leave a lot of those things to track in the player's hands, so I appreciate your following up on that. All right. So, Meichi, since we started that last round with you, do you think that, would you prefer that we bring the group back together, or would you prefer we do some more individual scenes? What's your preference?
I think maybe short scene together, and then next round of individual scenes.
Okay. So let's kind of hard cut to later in the day back at the hotel.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see what it's like.
Yeah. We've established that it's kind of one of those old, narrow hotels in an urban location, that it was abandoned in the 70s or 80s. So it is, while the actual architecture might be quite nice, the interior is done very tacky, and probably on the cheap. So they've replaced the wooden floors with linoleum tiles that they've just kind of tacked on there on top of them. You can see the cracks, and you can see where the wood floor has got that gummy stuff stuck on it, and the countertops are kind of discolored, and the surfacing is bowed in several places. But there are probably a couple of nice rooms when you go up some floors that maybe were not as remodeled. What do you suppose is sort of the shared space that you guys have carved out here? What does it look like? So, and let me say here's how I imagine that hollows work. Hollows you can step to from a physical space that you've established, and for you guys it's a decent sized room, and you can shape the decor with your glamour as you wish to. So what do you suppose the actual hollow attached to the hotel looks like?
What about that being actually like behind the office of where the hotel would be? And this would be where the safe is kept. This would be where the security is, the cameras that would normally look out around the place, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And it means we have to go through the nostalgia vintage souvenir shop to get to the hollow place, which I like.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you've got one of the giant floor safes, like absurdly large ones, and that's the doorway that you can step through into your hollow.
Mhm.
Is through that.
I think that
and
our hollow would be something outdoorsy. So it's like a small garden, something like that, with maybe a nice view. So you can see like a bit of sea, and the sea has a strange color, and the sky has a even stranger color, and there are some weird animals flying or floating sometimes there. What do you think?
I like that, and I think Zach is like vehemently against any metal being anywhere in here. He likes this natural feel, nothing conductive.
Yeah, and you've got several spring court people, so that makes sense. You've got those gardens, you've got the weird sky and stuff that maybe almost look, if you look carefully, it might looks like somebody painted it maybe, and the things kind of move across in a weird way, but it's all there. So we take up with the four of you having a meeting after your conversations with different changelings.
Okay, so I think I'm sitting and covering myself from the sun with this sun umbrella and saying, so did you manage to get anything from Ginny? Morosa? Thicket?
We got a lot of things, and Flicker has better words for them.
Well, she has all these pretty things. She has these shears, and she has this bag that she puts all this stuff into it that's really cool.
I think Camilla wants to know about 3 iron sour.
Oh yeah, okay. And he's like a really mean guy, and he tricked her into the whole, contract thing, and she didn't like him courting her, so she kind of bent the rules about messing with the fates, and somehow that backlashed against her, and they think, maybe she made maybe he made 3 iron sour made a deal with the goblins to make this backlash, but people died, and she doesn't want people to die again, and people disappeared, and it was bad. So yeah.
That sounds grim. So that confirms what I heard from the Prince of Spring. He was a Prince of Spring previously, if you can imagine that. And he was a clown. Wow. So, yes, and there were some other suitors, and a lot of people got into that to help the genie. So our court doesn't want anything to do with it, but we can help her. But it's good to keep the spring engagement in this as quiet as possible.
Huh. Wait, are you saying we should be quiet? Because it's not...
We shouldn't advertise our alignment in terms of court politics, Morosa.
Okay.
Don't worry about this. We will explain it as we go.
Oh, so you'll tell us like what we have to not do, right?
I will try, yes.
Okay.
Zach will have been like pacing back and forth a bit nervously through the background of this. He's still got that baseball cap, which he keeps like putting on and taking off, but it's got large burned out holes in it. The nylon on the back sort of melting, and it's singeing a bit every now and then. But he'll have stopped, and he's holding it at this point. He looks over at Camilla. Clown, you said? Clown like how clown? Like he did crazy things, or like face paint? And
I think both. I mean, both crazy things and face paint.
Okay, so because I didn't tell you this, but the guy that I told you about that I followed to the theater, he was doing the circuit. He'd been doing it for a while. His face was painted. He was a clown. Like, and by the way, who does that to someone? Turns them into a clown forever? That's terrible. Anyway, he was a clown.
We all had our deal of suffering in Arcadia. Camilla sighed.
I don't imagine Camilla can think of much worse than bad makeup for a time.
But your very politics says we all suffered. So.
Yeah, that's. I feel you. I feel you. So I think that's serious. I mean, it seems like they're trying to do some kind of incursion into the freehold. This is not.
And it seems like, this isn't a brand new thing. It seems like he's been doing it for a while.
So maybe we should try to do incursion of our own. Try to get in there through that gateway and see what lies beyond.
Sure, but
what do you
I
think about
think we might need like Morosa or something, because it wasn't a door. It wasn't a normal door. He opened the wall.
Oh, you mean
but
the hedge door?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that'll make it harder to do the bucket trick.
There were shelves, so there's still a possibility.
Oh, okay.
Morosa, you think you could do that? From what I recall, I think I don't know how you open those. You have to have a key, right?
Well, it depends. Did you see him do any sort of ritual, like when he came through or when he went back in?
I may have lost track of him before he went back in. The I was really focused on the ritual he was doing around the theater. But no, he just seemed to be, when he came out, just pushing it aside like the wall was bendy.
Okay, so here's the thing is, it costs effort to put a lock on those things. So they may not have done that yet, particularly if he's just recently arrived. I mean, that's a ritual. That's like spend a couple of weeks and the whole motley puts their power into it and you put a lock on it. So they may not have a bunk lock yet, and we may be able to get in. I mean, not that I want to go into the hedge on someone else's turf, but yet if I could punch them, that would be okay with me.
It might tell us more. Maybe they have some information we can dig through on that side.
Okay. And also, it would give us an idea of what kinds of things we might be able to set up to make their progress a little bit more difficult, just to give us some time. So, and they were taking the read on the sort of freehold space itself, not going after anything like particular to the spring court, right?
Well, not unless you have people in that 7-Eleven down the street from the theater.
I don't think so. I mean, they have really good hot dogs there, though.
I think Thicket's actually climbed a tree, and he kind of hangs down from the tree a little bit, and he says, if he's interested in the protections around the theater, and he's done his casing, how about if we try and put a trap around the theater now that he wouldn't know about?
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but if they already checked those, I think we need to know more. We need to get there, because I don't think we will get more information from anyone in the city at this point. I mean, maybe just a bit, but who are those people who help him? Because to me, I mean, what if he's a loyalist?
Ugh. Ooh. Well, then we really got to hit him hard. I mean, okay, so here's the thing is, at some point he was the Spring Prince. If I can get a hold of something that was in place while he was Spring Prince that is still in place, that will give me a tie to him. I'm going to tell you something. There's something in particular I would like. So, Camilla, I don't know everyone who's in the spring court, but My guess is that somewhere there has to be a wizened who takes care of everything, but actually hates everyone in the spring court because he's wizened. Do you know the name of that person?
Do we have anyone like that?
Oh gosh, let's see. Well, it's an interesting fiction that we've established there. There is a wizened.
Maybe we can use someone who is already there, or is there no one?
I don't think any of the ones on
Semolina.
Semolina could work for that. She's a wizened.
She's certainly the brewer and distiller.
Yeah, I was thinking more of the seneschal type thing. Is there a seneschal? That's what I'm asking after. Because it has to be someone who literally loathes everyone who's in the spring court.
Okay. Well, that seems a reasonable fiction to establish there. So let's say that there is a wizened, one of those wizened who knows all the household stuff, is able to clean something overnight and spin, yarn and all of that sort of household spirit things, and hates it. But does her duty, keeps the commons immaculately clean, takes pay to go and clean other places, that she does what she's asked, but she does not like it at all. So that's Old Grummy.
Okay. So I think then I will go to see her. And with regards to the hedge and the portal, I have two ideas we could try to pursue. One is we could try to send scouting party. Thicket, how do you feel about a party? Scouting party, to be more precise.
I think going someplace new sounds fantastic.
So we either go in all four of us, and then if we meet someone, we can try to fight them off or whatever. Or we send someone who is small, who can, go by unnoticed, is agile and, well, doesn't necessarily get attention to him.
I say let's do both.
Yes, we can also do both.
Yes. Just because punching opportunities may come up. That's all I'm thinking.
So, do we have anything else on the roster to do?
That seems like a good rundown of the things. Anything else for anybody?
I like the idea of trying to set a trap for that guy that's doing the circuits around the theater.
Yep.
I don't know what exactly, but at the very least for me, he's licking a lamppost, and I think I have a lot of play there.
That's actually kind of awesome. All right. Okay. So, shall we, as a group, go through the thing? Flicker can scout, of course, but I want to make sure he has backup.
So maybe we start with two individual scenes, splitting into a two-people party. So one party setting a trap and someone going with me to talk with the old Grammy. And then we do the incursion. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
That sounds good.
Okay, so...
I feel like Morosa would be good help with a trap.
Yes, I would be great help with a trap.
Then I'll go talk to old Grummy with you. Yeah.
Okay, what I need is a light bulb that was in use whilst 3 Sour Iron was Prince that still works.
Oh.
She'll know if there is.
That's surprisingly specific. Okay.
If you can't find that, anything that was around at that time is okay, but a light bulb would be ideal.
So I might be able to find something like that for you back in my den.
Oh, really?
Mm.
It's pretty
Whoa.
well stocked. And
Nice.
I might have something around.
Okay. I don't know how being well stocked means.
Yeah, but you weren't. I mean, we are not long here. Okay, but you could have stolen someone from.
That's
I've been
exactly
taken.
right. Yes, yes.
Okay. Let me quickly grab something up, and then we're going to break into those scenes. Let me do this real quick. Oops. All right. So, Thicket, what's your relationship to Old Grummy?
Old Grummy, I try to avoid Old Grummy as much as possible, but he always seems to find me whenever he wants to. He's grumpy and I hide from him, and but whenever he needs me, he finds me.
That seems fair. And he's old and twisted, and you get his gender mixed up because he looks like a guy, might be a woman, so you kind of the sort of shrunken apple face of a sour-faced wizened. So you are probably a little bit back. What's your relationship with Old Grummy, Camilla?
Well, not the best one, probably, because I tend to overlook people like him or her. I mean, who cares? But okay. So yeah, I think that sums it up, more or less. So I will have a lot of, let's say, bad blood to overcome here.
So let's say that you will find Old Grummy when she's actually in those hours at the nightclub, the club that the Spring Court runs, when she's doing the cleaning. She's walking around. She's got a broom. There are a couple of automated vacuum cleaners that are going around. You come in and she looks at the two of you, and her lips get thin, and she's like, "We're closed for cleaning." You're muted.
Oh, Graham, you are always joking. I laugh with my pearly laugh. You know you're my favorite member of our court. I smile at her.
Our eyes get narrow.
Why don't you sit with us for a bit?
Leans, sees Thicket, crosses her arms. You're a ferist, so she will sort of instinctively go and sit when you say for her to sit. She does not like it.
Yeah, so I will draw her to the. This is definitely my signature move. So I will draw her to like one of the tables or somewhere, or maybe to the bar. I know I will go behind the bar and I will make her and all of us a drink, and I will do a lot of mess while doing it. Because who cares? Someone always cleans that up, right?
She's trying to not wipe up the counter after you, And she see her gnaw on her knuckle there. As you do that, she'll look over at Thicket.
So I think that Thicket's kind of around the room looking at different things and just kind of being a little bit pacey and that kind of stuff, and stops every once in a while and notices her kind of glaring at him, and he kind of shrinks a little bit and maybe hides behind the bar. You see a hand reach up and kind of wipe the bar, but where the mess is.
Thicket, what's your favorite drink? I think I will know that.
Probably something that's never that he hasn't had before, so something a little bit different.
Okay, so he always likes to try new things, right?
Yeah.
So I think you will get something like that is violet, and there is a lot of smoke coming of it.
Nice.
And a small umbrella.
Yeah. Probably the umbrella breaks down after a little while, sitting in this violet smoke.
Right. And something very strong for Grammy. Very, very strong.
She picks up the glass, drinks it, never taking her eyes off of you. It is never good when a fairest comes calling.
Oh, people have all those bad ideas about us. It's like everyone hates us sometimes. I'm rolling my eyes and sighing with despair. I was hoping you could help us just a bit. Just a small thing you could do for us. I know you like helping.
What do you need, sweet?
You recall this guy, I forget how he was called.
Three iron. I've lost
Sour. Yes.
Sour. Thank you.
That's the one.
Oh,
the
yeah.
old Prince of Spring, the clown, and very tacky dressed gentleman. So
Yep. Lots of sparkles, lots of sparkle powder, lots of grease paint, fingerprints everywhere.
Oh,
get
God.
on everything. Try to get out of the clothing.
That had to be
Come out of the
horrible
clothing.
for you. I'm starting to listen to her, like very keenly.
She kind of rants a little bit about damn clowns and makeup and just stuff, and eventually she'll kind of settle down.
There are more of them, and they want to come back into town. There will be a whole lot of clowns in Springcourt soon, if we don't stop them.
Oh. Okay. How do we stop these clowns?
So we need a light bulb that was in use when he was a prince, somewhere near him. And it's still working.
Okay. Let's have you roll heart, because she is contemplating maybe she can get a debt out of this, but maybe you can push her to not put a clause on it.
Okay, let me get a roll. So one moment. It's working so slow. Okay, so that's 6. Oh yeah.
So let's see if I might be able to help. I think let's see what the roll looks like. So I would roll with spring.
You would roll with spring.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I would roll with
Oh, so I'm getting on a miss. Your machinations succeed as though you rolled 7-9, but attract the attention of a rival or enemy. I have a move for that.
Oh, that you have a move for that. All right.
Yeah.
So on a 6, you succeed. You do that. Thicket, do you still want to try and support?
Well, I'll leave that up to you, whether or not you want the XP or whether or not you want to succeed with the difficulty. Or yeah, I don't mind helping support.
I think helping won't change much because even if I get +1, that would still be 7. So
Yeah.
it will be still similar result. So
Okay.
All right.
I will get XP.
So,
Well,
she
just
will-
to, there are
Sure.
other outcomes for support, aren't there? There's like the trust thing that we could build up, or
Okay. Yeah, then you can go with supporting. I mean, that's in terms of the
yeah, if you want to do that, we
sorry,
can add a
that's
trust to the
cool.
pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or potentially take a hit if she gets really grumpy.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh no, I rolled snake eyes,
Okay.
so that's a 4.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Oh no, it's fine.
So the move that you did for the fairest was which one?
It's called irresistible.
Irresistible. Okay. So this is the roll 7 attractive by enemy, and then you do that. All right. So
Oh, by the
she
way,
goes-
the way that this help from Thicket looks is that, whenever she's going on about, clowns and that kind of stuff, I think he pulls some glitter out of his pocket and blows it and makes like a little mess.
she goes, I'll get your light bulb for you. Oh yeah. Give me an hour, and I'll get you your light bulb.
Okay.
It'll be quite the light bulb. Okay.
Okay.
No.
I knew I could count
And,
on you.
Yeah. And she looks at both of you, and she goes, "Now you need to get the F out of here."
Certainly. I'm gonna pour her and ourselves another drink, making just a little more of the mess around the bar. Maybe opening a new bottle, because who wants to use the same boring bottle I used previously, right? And then we're gonna take our leave.
Okay. She looks at the pool of whiskey there with little sparkles, the glitter in it. The shot of her staring at that, her fists, probably blood running down now where she's done this so hard. So we'll cut from that to you two. So Zach and Morosa, what do you want to do?
So we have this light bulb now.
Or
So we'll assume that can get delivered,
oh, okay.
because what she's going to do is going to be secondary to that.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Oh yeah, there are 2 misses there on the table for me to use. Those are coming.
Okay, awesome. Super awesome. Okay.
So yeah, there's this lamppost that's his starting point. I
Mhm.
think if we can knock him out or something when he gets there, I can make sure that he thinks that everything went okay instead.
What do you mean? Sorry. I'm trying to think. You said some words and they didn't work for me.
Well, if
Maybe like that's what you're trying to do, right? Okay.
well, if we can get him, down where we can question him, or knocked out where we can search over him, I can maybe play with his mind a little bit and make sure that what he remembers happening is successfully doing his circuit.
Oh. Well, that should be pretty easy. I mean, essentially, and you said he licked this thing?
Yeah, just right up with his tongue. It was real gross.
Ooh. Okay, so then we want to make sure that he does it again. That's sort of his sense thing. So we have to make things look a little different, right?
All right.
Okay, so that's to get the lick. And then what are we going to do with the lick? Oh. Here's the thing. Could you shock him into unconsciousness? Like, can we set something up that'll route?
Well, sure. I mean, the infrastructure and the electrical lines in this part of the city are notoriously bad. It only makes sense that there might be a bad ground somewhere.
Yeah, so let's make sure there's a bad ground. What do I got to bust to make sure there's a bad ground?
So I think we go up to this lamppost, and Zach he puts his hand on the side and just sort of zip in several sequential shots up to the top of it.
Okay.
Where I don't know, we can get at some of the wiring up there.
Okay. So you're trying to create between you and Morosa a sort of delayed effect that's going to be triggered by this guy coming back. Magical effect. This seems pretty significant, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Do we need to do ritual or that kind of thing?
I think what it's going to be is that Zach is going to have to call on power.
Okay.
'Cause this is a more significant thing that you're doing. And you're going to mark clarity when you do it. You're going to roll weird.
Okay.
You can support him in that if you wish to.
Yes.
There,
I definitely will. I definitely will.
So do you want to roll your support first, or should we see what Zach rolls first?
How about if he rolls and then I roll, and it'll depend on where it's going.
Okay. All right. Sure. So Zach, go ahead.
So yeah, I get up there, I get some of the wires open, and I just sink my hands down in, and I start talking to the electricity, the flow, and I want to convince it to set up a weird little loop for itself.
Okay. Let's see what you roll.
That's a 12.
That is a 12.
Okay.
All right. So you get, I'm going to say that this is a change in the environment. You're creating an effect that's going to be a problem for him. That's how I'm going to kind of define that.
And I also have from the Winter Moves, I have Way of Thorns, which is when you call on power, gain the following option: cause a helpless target to forget some of their short-term memories up to an entire hour's worth. You can mark clarity to put alternate memories in their place.
Okay. Are you going to have alternate memories put in place?
Yes, I was there watching him when he did that first circuit, and it's ritual magic, so I know it's got to be done the same way every time. So I just sort of concentrate and alter the point of view so that it looks like it's him seeing himself do this ritual.
All right. So you mark another clarity because you are messing with another changeling's memories.
Nice. So that's 2 choices off the list, so that's a major catch.
Well, you rolled a 10 plus, so the catch is going to be minor. Oh, no, you took the 2 choices. So, yeah, what is the major catch then? What is the thing that you have to do or sacrifice or enact to get this to go?
I think in order to convince the flow, the electricity in this area to do this, it wants an equal trade. It wants to be able to play with, take away something from my memory.
Ooh, okay. So I think that will happen, and I'm going to have you mark a condition. I'll let you choose which condition you want to mark.
Okay.
What do you think is appropriate?
I think insecure.
Okay. Do you know what the electricity took, or do you not know?
No, that's the problem. Is it's the same way that it was with my keeper. It all happens at the speed of thought. It all happens so fast that I don't even have time to take stock of what's been gone. So it's that paranoia of, wait, what am I missing now?
Okay. And what about you, Morosa? What are you doing here? He seems to have successfully done this. Is there anything you're layering with this or doing something else?
My first thing is that I am doing a teeny weeny little ritual, but something with some markings, just enough to draw his attention so he'll feel compelled to do it because something may have changed. So essentially what I do is I do a little, like, it almost looks like one of those memorials where someone's had an accident, right?
Okay.
But it's got some arrows drawn, and then they're kind of joined almost like a spider web.
Okay. So is this like a little contract to kind of catch his attention?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's all it is.
Okay. So that's invoke contract. So what's the name of this contract?
It's called Itch.
Okay. And what's the minor catch for it?
The minor catch for it is literally that I have hives for the next day.
Okay. All right. So you get
Nice.
the hives on there.
I'm
You've got
more
that
likely
set
to
up.
be a little irritable, just warning you. So,
Okay.
all right.
All right.
And I make a roll.
No, you, with the invoke contract, that's a minor magical effect. That
Okay.
seems like something that we don't have to roll for. It's just have to name the contract and say a catch.
All right.
So you two have this set up and in place.
So here's the thing is that we know that he's not going to complete his circuit. So it means that we actually can make changes to the protections, right?
That's a pretty serious thing to do. This is the protections for the freehold, for the
Well,
for the
here's
commons.
Here's the thing is as you said, there's a sort of complicated joining spot right here. If we were to put a trigger, because like where we were talking about the bucket, what if the bucket isn't at the hedge door, but it's at this entry point for when 3 iron sour comes through it? He's going to think it's good.
For when
but
he
it-
expects his back door to be clear.
Exactly. And that this is the door that the bucket of curses is going to sit on. So essentially we're going to build a trigger for the curses that I'm going to build. So,
Okay. Let me come back to you on that if I can.
Okay. Sure,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Let me see. I want to know what, assuming that the light bulb was delivered to you, Sweet and Flicker, where do you go from there?
I think we're going to deliver the bulb to Morosa and to the Zack. Maybe I will tell Thicket to do it if he can, and I will go to change because we are going into this incursion into the hedge. I have to prepare.
Okay. So the bulb is delivered. So it looks like what we're doing is you guys meeting up. You're doing that ritual, getting that set, Morosa, and then it's looking at going into the hedge. So Morosa, this does seem like you are calling on power, unless you have something, a move that works with this. You're muted.
If I were angry, I could be more powerful at it, but that is not the case.
I can fix that.
Oh,
I think that Sweet gave Thicket the light bulb and let you know that I was on my way, and I come very, very late.
oh.
I've gotten distracted. I'm off doing different things, and along my way, it's long enough for you to be mad about, how long it took me to get there.
All right, then I think that I'm not sure how we do that. Can I just mark a condition and that's how it is then?
Oh,
That's an interesting idea.
Essentially, I sacrifice those sets of abilities that go with that in order to.
I think we would do that because we've got a support action, but in the other game there's hinder. So I actually think what you'll do is you'll roll with season on her.
okay.
And if you're successful, you can, instead of clearing a condition, have her mark a condition. Only because you guys are both sort of PC agreeing to that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem cool?
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 6.
And what is your with Spring? What's your bonus with Spring?
Oh, I'm sorry. I rolled a 4, and with my bonus with Spring, I got a 6.
All right.
Yep.
So
Sorry.
that will not happen.
Right.
I can help pile on if we're looking to make Morosa mad.
Oh God.
I think I've sort of figured out what I forgot, and what I forgot is what I'm not supposed to talk to Morosa about, which is while we're sitting here waiting in this extended time while Thicket's doing who knows what, I'm gonna start asking you, like, how's your friend Judith? Have y'all done anything recently? And just, sort of this, like, oh, this was your best friend that you've talked about before, some mortal or something that you hang out with. And,
Oh my God, from the chess club?
Yep.
Oh,
Ugh. All right,
Okay.
so that's a support action to
To the hand.
okay, and
Yep.
I want you to know that Morosa's standing there, and she's sort of kicking at the asphalt, except she actually is strong enough to leave a dent in it.
Okay. Roll with spring then.
Oh, it's a 10 minus 1 is 9.
9. Okay. So you can make her angry.
Yes.
So
I think I will.
Yep. So I think that, however, so that bumps me up to a 7, and I think what that means is that we expose ourselves to the danger of her anger.
So I'm going to give you guys two costs here. I think that is that she is angry, and I think that is going to wipe the trust pool that you guys have. Okay. That you had 2 that you could have spent to bump things up. You will wipe that out. And Morosa, you are now marking angry.
All right.
Oh, that's right. We could have just used the trust pool responsibly rather than this ridiculous series of rolls.
Oh no, I really like this.
Oh, I do too. I love it.
So go ahead and make the roll for that ability. Then this is
Okay. So now I roll with advantage, so I get to pick the 2 highest dice.
yes.
Oh, good. So I got an 8. So because that was a crappy roll, but still, it's better than nothing.
Is that with your weird added in?
No, that's not with my weird added in. Then I got a 10.
Okay. So in that case, you're calling on a power, and you mark clarity.
Okay.
And you can either choose 2 effects or 1 effect, and the catch is minor.
Let's see here. I guess I will do 2 effects because this is important. So now where are my effect lists? I'm sorry. So is it just anything or
on call and power? Just to kind of define two things that we're doing here. Essentially. Okay.
So essentially, the trigger was for 3 iron sour. Okay.
Okay. Right.
The curse that's being built is essentially there's the bucket because it's the idea of it tripping or whatever, but inside of it, she has help with Zach's help rigged it up so that light bulb actually works. And essentially it will draw spiders and then flies like insects and stuff. Essentially a spider will come because of the insects that are attracted to that light. And essentially, so when it falls, I know it sounds weird, but essentially it's a whole thing of a naturally created web that sort of has a sympathy to Ginny's web, but it will dump on him with all of the victims. So essentially it's the price of all of the victims that he created when he reversed her stuff will come winging back at him. It's essentially a boomerang. Curse. Does that make any sense? That even though there wasn't at that time, he didn't pay the price for it, or at least that price, he's paying the price for the victims.
Okay. That seems reasonable to me. You get that set up. I assume then the group is going to meet back together to head to the hedge.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll lead people to that abandoned shoe store.
Okay. Camilla, you said you were changing your outfit. What does your hedge going outfit look like?
So Camilla is wearing a cat suit with a thigh-high boot, and she has this ridiculous mask of cat burglar. So, and I think she also has under-bust corset with that. So it's completely ridiculous, but it looks great. So
I like the idea that I like the idea that this is like the compromise outfit. We've tried to sneak into places before, and Camilla came in with something even more ridiculous.
So I think Thicket, one of the things he got distracted with on his way with the light bulb was he actually stopped by his den. and he picked up like a pouch, which he remembered spinning Ginny's, fantastic bag. And so he picked up a pouch and put some stuff from his den in the pouch that he thought we might need going into the hedge, like maybe a bird feather and a lock with a key and things like that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So you will gather together and you head over to the Alex's Shoe Hospital. I assume this time you have to kind of pop open the door to go in. Does that seem reasonable?
I'll use my last hold here and get in the same way I did before and just unlock the door from the inside.
Okay. Get that creaky key thing, get it open. You guys can go in. And when you come inside and you go back to where that door is at with the shelves, you will see that there's actually a box in the middle of the room. Cardboard box wasn't there before.
What's in the box?
I'll stop.
I'm going to observe the situation carefully before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll sort of stop and look shocked and point out, like, hey, that wasn't here before when he came through.
Whenever you point it out, I'm going to go over to it and kind of start.
And there is that thing where you're all focused on the box. Sherry? Unmute.
Sherry's wise to it, but I'm sure Morosa isn't. So.
Okay. Where that and I'm going to need you all to stay strong here.
Okay. So I'll roll first, I guess, and we'll call who's rolling.
Yeah, so everybody roll with weird.
Okay, so that gives me an 11.
Okay, so you are
Actually,
fine. You're
12.
all as well.
That's weird.
What about Flicker?
I rolled analog, so I got a 7 minus 1 is 6.
Okay. I'll come back to you about what happens there. Zach?
I got an 8.
Okay. 8. So I'll come back to you on the cost. And what about you, Camilla?
We are rolling.
With weird for the stay
Weird.
strong.
Okay, so first I got 10 and then it changed to 4. So maybe if I could, I will roll first time because
Sure,
it's like
absolutely.
someone pressed. Okay. Yeah, now it's 6. So
Okay.
it's 6.
Okay. So the good news is you and Flicker get to roll, get to mark experience.
Yeah.
The bad news is there is like the top comes off of this box. It flies off. But also from back in behind, there's like popping sounds. And you actually kind of have to fall back to get out of the way of this sack and kind of fall out of the building. Morosa, you step back, and this room is filled with glitter. like dense, like just glitter. And then you'll kind of hear a snap of a spark, and the glitter ignites in the air. And Camilla and Flicker, you're both going to mark wounded.
I need to reload it. Okay.
So what does wounded actually do?
So wounded, it means that you're injured. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to need hospitalization. It doesn't actually affect anything mechanically, but it's that you don't want to have that happen again. You want to get out of there. You want to get some, because you've got some burns on you. It's painful. So it's sort of a fictional warning of bad stuff coming.
As that's happening, and I'm getting thrown out of the building, can I maybe try and do a support to like trade places with Thicket and throw him out instead and take the blast for myself?
I'm going to say no, just because Thicket rolled that 6. And you got that sort of cost. That was the cost there. So I'm going to hold off on that one. If you had trust in the trust pool, I might consider allowing that.
Fair enough.
Morosa, you're the one who least was affected by this. And you will see that hedge door come open. And the clown-faced guy is not there, but the 2 guys that were behind 3 Iron Sour at the meet pop out, and they've got weapons, like they're coming in to finish off the job kind of thing. So Morosa, what do you want to do?
I want to smack the F out of them.
Okay.
Essentially, they think they're going to have the advantage, but I'm waiting for them, and I'm going to go after them.
Okay.
Are these guys ogres? What are they?
So the one guy looks like he's a beast.
Okay.
Looks like he's sort of a lizard-skinned guy. The other one looks like he's a wizened, like maybe a soldier.
Oh boy, soldier, huh? All right.
Got that sort of rigid face. The weapon looks like it's part of him. That kind of thing.
All right. Let's see here. Sorry, I've got. I think that what I'm going to do then, I'm already angry, so this is awesome. That when you do the call on power, what is that? Or unleash attack?
So you say, I'm going to go after one of these people.
Okay, so I'm going after the soldier because I can't let a soldier hit any of my people. So I'm going after him.
Just so you run at him. Let's have you roll wild and describe to me what comes out of that.
Okay, let's see how I roll, and then I will base it on that. Now I'm rolling with advantage again. So, God. So that's 6, 7. So I get a 7.
Okay.
So essentially, I come winging after him. I wanted to disarm him. I don't, but essentially, I end up locked up with him.
Okay. So what are you picking from the unleash attack thing? What do you want from the 7 to 9 list?
Okay. Unleash attack. Finding. Sorry, I am always.
Okay. I'm going to come next to Zach, and then I'm going to check in with the 2 injured people and see what they're doing. Okay. That's the order I'm going to go in here.
I want to essentially take something from them, and that's his initiative. Essentially,
Okay.
He won't act. His action this round.
Okay. So he is going to deal 2 harm to you. Do you have any kind of armor?
Gosh, that's a fine question. Do I? 2 harm, what does that mean? Like 2 wounded boxes?
You're going to mark 2 conditions of your choice.
Well, I have 2 wound conditions. That's a ton, though. I don't think I have armor.
Okay, I didn't know if you had taken a move that gave you that or not.
No, you only have 2 moves. My God.
All right. But you have got a hold of him so that he can't act away from you, and he's in a bad position. But he does get that knife in on you as you come in. He's fast. Zach, what do you want to do? Mentioned there's still smoke in the air and noise, and the glass is probably shattered around in the room, and these 2 have come out. He's locked up with one.
And she's locked up with Lizard Guy or the other one?
The soldier, not the beast.
Gotcha. I'm just outside the door, sort of on the sidewalk.
Yeah, but that seems good.
All right, I see this chaos going on, and there's still, like, I imagine some things are sort of still smoking and on fire a bit. So I'm going to dash in the door and to the side of it where I've seen a fire alarm, basically.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and call up some electricity and jolt it through the system to get the sprinklers going.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Clear some of this out of the air.
All right. I will say that seems like something that you can do reflexively, that we don't need to make a roll for that, unless there's an additional effect you want to create here.
There's not. It goes in with the primal forces and my call element there.
Okay.
I'd run out of hold.
All right, so let's have you roll that then.
Okay. Let's see. Oof, that is a 7.
That is a 7, so you just get, how much is it, 1 or 2
It's
hold?
3 hold still, but I have to choose, and I'm gonna mark another clarity.
Okay, so it's again that you connect up with the power, and it gets in your head, but you've charged up. Camilla, you're coughing, wounded. What does the situation look like for you, and what do you want to do?
So I think that there are. Well, I don't think I'm doing much. I mean, I'm probably lying in the corner, looking dramatically, and I'm like, I feel that I'm dying. I think there's
okay.
no hope for me.
Yeah. So
and is it now raining from the sprinklers to support her feeling of dread and doom?
Yeah. And whatever makeup you had on is running from the water, and this glitter is not getting out of this. It's going to be in your clothing, in your hair, for days.
Yes.
Yes.
You're probably more concerned about that than the burns.
It's very bad.
Okay.
Oh.
What about you, Flicker?
So basically, I have a quick question. I assume that the explosion bypasses armor, right?
Yeah, well, do you have armor?
I do from my beast starting move.
Okay.
And I think that's just due to quickness. It's not due to something that I'm wearing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say, because we're coming out of that 6+ and so on, I think you will take 1 harm.
Yeah.
On that. So. Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflexively transform, and that's a roll. So let's see what that looks like. That's a 6 plus weird. That's a 5, so I fail that one too.
Okay.
So my transformation leaves me in a vulnerable position, spotted, trapped, or unable to change back. So I think that's your choice.
Is it the GM's choice, or what do you think would be appropriate for this situation here?
Unable to change back would be fine. Trapped under one of these guys, since they had a plan, is also an appropriate choice, so that's fine with me.
So let's say that as you're changing, this lizard guy is on you and kind of pushes you down and is holding you there. He's clearly not the heavy, so what he's done is pin you, and he's expecting that his buddy is going to follow up on you right now. So you're kind of held and trapped by him.
Okay.
Seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. Then Morosa, we come back to you. You're engaged with the soldier. It looks like Zach is powering up, but Flicker's caught, and Camilla, she must be terribly injured because she's not moving at all.
Oh my God. This is my motley. I can't let this go. I have to mangle this guy. I'm so sorry. I know he's had a horrible durance. And I say that. I'm sort of chatty while I'm beating the hell out of him. I know you got a tough buddy, but...
I'm not going to help, but can I try to, by the way I look and, lay down, can I try to do a persuade on Morosa to rescue me instead of fighting those guys? Sure,
you could certainly do that. Go ahead and roll heart. Do you have a debt on her?
I do, but I don't think I want to spend it. I just want to, because it's not... Okay, so that's 7 and +2, so that's 9.
Okay, so Morosa, Camilla, tell me what that looks like, you calling for help here.
So I think that I'm wondering if this is persuade. No, it's manipulate, because this is okay. So I think how it looks, that you are looking at the situation, you are looking at me, and Camilla is lying. You can see her eyes, her makeup flowing. She has burns on her body. Some of her costume is burned. A bit of her hair was also burned, and she's moving her lips in a way that it looks like she's drawing essentially her last breath. So.
So here's what we'll do. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a classic offer here. I think that she's going to get to choose a couple of things. You can do what she wants and mark XP or push past it. So under manipulator, are there things that you want to tag there, you think?
Let's see here.
This is for Camilla. Are you tagging anything that we want to know manipulate?
No, I think so. I would say that it could be no, I just feel like a bad person.
Okay. Yeah. So you confuse Morosa.
Yeah,
next choice.
Yep.
Okay, then I think I will take the condition confused.
Okay.
Does it, and continue on? Does that sound like a fair thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I'm like, but I've got a soldier by the neck, so I think I'm going to work on that.
Okay. So let's have you roll. Roll with wild.
Okay. I'm totally confused. All right, here we go. Oh my God. So I got a 10 and then plus 1. It's 5,
okay.
11.
So you get to pick 2 from the, so you unleash harm on him. What is your harm that you deal?
Let's see here. My harm is,
I don't know if you have anything bonus on it.
No, I didn't take like brute or anything like that.
You deal an additional harm barehanded is your part of your starting move.
Oh, well, awesome. Then plus 1.
Okay. And
so
then
kind of like him.
And then what are the 2 picks you're taking from the unleash attack?
I'm going to avoid harm from them, and I'm going to inflict terrible harm.
So tell me what that looks like when you break the soldier.
Well, this is the thing is that I am confused, and I'm like, I got to get to Camilla. And so I literally turn around and, he's got his gun, and she sort of takes it and she smacks it at him, but she hits him right there, and it's not like it was any great intent of hers. It's just that it's like she's trying to go as fast as possible, and she's got all of her force behind it.
Yeah. And he'll hit against the shelves and crumple down, and you'll hear that kind of as he's choking there. Okay. But he is definitely out. Zach. Looks like Flicker is grabbed. What do you want to do, Zach? Are you muted? I can't hear you.
Shit, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I want to go help Thicket.
How do you want to do that?
I think I want to reach down to the floor and sort of phase my hands into it, and there's going to be these lines of lightning that arc along the floor towards that guy's feet.
Okay. And is that one of your moves, or are we just doing this as an unleash attack?
No, because I don't actually have a damaging elemental effect or anything like that. I just have the manipulate small amounts of electricity.
Okay, so we are going to do that as an unleash an attack.
Okay.
Okay. Unless what you want to try and do is like rather than dealing harm, you're trying to distract him or something like that. What's the effect you're intending?
Sorry, I'm just looking through the options.
Sure, absolutely. This is one of the first time we've had this kind of interaction, so it's easy to do it. You could obviously distract them, could try and give advantage.
I think Unleash has the options I want to go for.
Okay, so this is trying to do physical harm. Go ahead and roll wild.
No, for reals. There we go. 10.
10. So you will deal harm. An electrical is 1 harm on this guy, and you get 2 picks from the Unleash attack list.
I think I am going to take something from him, Thicket, and create an opportunity for your allies as I imagine he, I don't know, freezes up in the shock.
Okay, so you do hit him, and you pull Flicker away from him. Flicker, you're pulled away. This guy is kind of vibrating from the electricity. What do you want to do?
So I think I'll unleash an attack, and this is just, a half raccoon just clawing and scrabbling at him.
Okay.
So let's see what that looks like.
Go ahead and roll wild.
That is a 7.
Okay. So you're going to deal harm, and then you get to pick one from the Unleash attack list.
I'll inflict terrible harm.
Okay.
So this is like a rabid raccoon just clawing and biting and scrabbling all over him.
So he will inflict harm back. You have armor, so you only take 1. But what does the terrible harm look like when you take him down? Because he's already shaken from the electrical.
So I think this is just a whole bunch of bites on him, and unfortunately, it's probably opening a vein.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there'll be that snap, and he'll stagger back, kind of reaching to fall back into the hedge, and he'll kind of drop to the ground.
And did he hit me on my attack on him?
Because you didn't take resist blows, you will take a harm on that.
Okay.
And is there a space for harm, or is it just take a condition?
It's just take a condition. Sorry, I should clarify that.
Okay.
And just real quick, I did have one question about the Unleash attack options. Not that I chose either of them, but what's the difference between resist or avoid their blows and avoid harm from them?
I think that I've stolen. This is taken from Urban Shadows. I think from what there is, if they were trying to do an effect to you, if they were like trying to unbalance you, if that would be sort of the response back rather than dealing harm to you, then you could resist that effect. I don't think there's much difference between the two. But that's a very good question. It is redundant. So the scene will be these 2 changelings down. There's the sound of maybe glass falling, smoke in the air. The hedge door is still open. Some of you are injured, catching your breaths. And I think, if you guys don't mind, I think this is where I'd like to stop for today. And talk about roses and thorns. And so, Camilla, what's the last thing we see of you here in this shot?
Well, I think I managed to get to my feet and say something like, well, we won.
And Zach, what's the last thing we see of you here in this shot? Muted again.
Dang it. I think Zach is sort of going over and like pulling Thicket off of that guy. Being like, no, it's okay. It's okay. We're good. They're down. The door's still open. It's fine. It's going to be okay, man. It's good. It's good.
And Thicket?
I think Thicket actually picks up like the guy he was in and shoves him through the open door. He's really mad. He's like, we're coming for you.
And Morosa? Muted.
Okay. I like broke a dude, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so she sort of picks the soldier up, and she's like, we gotta go to the physiker.
All right. That
All right.
seems like a good spot to end with you holding that guy. Let's real quickly go through the XP into session things. Let me find that page here. Sorry. Well, next time we'll talk about clearing conditions. And Machi, you're not going to be here next time, right? Okay. So all of you get some XP for rolling misses. Check through your seasonal interactions. And if you have marked all the seasons in your interactions, then when you do that, then you get to clear that and get an XP.
I don't think we did any interaction with winter, right?
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
I don't think anybody conceded conflicts. We didn't sacrifice or risk to mess with NPC rivals because we were kind of focused in on things. So I think that's it for the moment. We'll talk about, again, clearing conditions next time. Any questions about that?
Just as a technical thing, because
Sure.
I'm bad at Excel sheets, I think I broke my XP boxes.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah, mine are locked as well.
Oh.
Try double clicking. I've double clicked on mine and it finally worked.
Oh, there you go.
Reload.
Yeah.
Double clicks.
That being said, I don't think I actually made any XP this time.
Didn't you have a fail or two?
I don't think so. I think I was mostly in the 7 to 9.
Okay. Well, we'll check.
I failed every roll except for the last one.
Yes.
I am almost there on a clarity advance, though.
That's true. Good. Yeah, you know, one of the things I noticed, we played Blades in the Dark on Friday, and it has an interesting thing where you get XP at the end of a session if you've expressed your nature or your background or things like that. And I kind of like that as an XP question, but I'll think about that. If you guys don't mind, I'd like to take about 10, 15 minutes to do the roses and thorns here, to talk about mechanics, about play, all of that kind of thing. I want to start with thorns, things that we're seeing as either the way I ran it or the structure or the system. So anybody have thorns?
So I can start maybe. So
Sure.
have this feeling that there is a bit too much moves, which we don't have. So, and there is, but I know this is hard with Changeling, the balance between things that you put as a moves and things that you put as powers that you can use by colon powers. So I'm wondering if this is the best approach to do that. Because when I was looking through my seasonal moves, it was like a lot of them felt redundant. I mean, they were a bit different in terms of aesthetics, but they were really amounting to doing similar things. And I would have this feeling when I start with only 3 moves, getting another one from that list would be like a waste of a potential. So I think that either cutting them down a bit or maybe offering us a bit more, especially if we are playing like a closed bit, would be a good idea.
Okay. So I'm going to look at that redundancy.
I'm always good with more moves.
Yeah, I'll say, building on that, just as sort of a thorn, and it has to do with how the dice rolled out. And like I said, I have a lot of clarity points, but like out of these 2 sessions, I've gotten 1 XP. And the the interacting with NPCs, again, it comes down to how we're playing our story. But
Right.
I've only like marked 2 of the courts.
Yeah. So I think that's actually something from Urban Shadows. Urban Shadows, you don't get a lot of XP. It's very slow because of the interacting with the different courts equivalent.
Yeah.
And then the same thing's true of getting XP on a miss. That all depends on whether or not you're succeeding or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's something in the end XP moves that we talked about that I don't think we saw any last time, but we had just like one quick scene. This time, I don't think we saw anything, so maybe those need to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. Urban Shadows is very slow. And here's the other thing that occurs to me, and it fits with what Machi said. Urban Shadows also has a smaller pool of moves. So the reason they have a slow XP gain is because there isn't as much to, I think, to pick from. So making some shifts there probably is a good idea. That's a really good point.
So go back to Urban Shadows a little bit. Urban Shadows introduces the debts idea and the idea of corruption, in this case, clarity. And there's a lot of moving parts there to keep track of. I think, at least from my perspective, I'm focusing in on, my moves, my, the core stats and the courts and that kind of stuff. But I'm not really looking to see where I can call in debts and I'm not exactly sure how to get clarity. I think that's a slow burn kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
It seems like you're getting it a lot quicker.
I was also aiming towards it in a lot of cases.
That's good. How are you aiming towards it for you?
Well, one is, and this ties into another sort of thorn I had for myself, which was I felt at times I was being a bit pedantic with the Primal Forces move of me describing something I was doing, and you were fine with us just storytelling through. I was like, no, I got this thing to roll. And part of it was because on a 7 to 9 or miss, one of the choices off of my calling up electricity is to mark clarity. And that's how I was doing most of it. And then call on power, doing the big magics, does clarity marks as well. But I was trying to engage that move in a playtest sort of idea of like, well, the move's there, I need to use it and see how it plays out. But I almost feel like that calling up forces might be better done as like, I'd be just happy automatically making a choice from a list every time I pull up hold from it, rather than rolling to see whether I have to make the choice.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's borrowed from I think that's pretty much lifted from the wizard stuff from Urban Shadows, but it might not work in this context.
But yeah, if it was, like I said, I personally don't mind taking some disadvantageous choices to build up that hold. But if it was just a make a choice and do the move rather than roll it, it would flow a lot more seamlessly into the things I was trying to do with it.
Okay.
I have
Give an option
two
to not
additional
roll. Okay.
points, if I can. So one of those is that I think it would be a good idea to, from one side, cut on the number of detailed moves, and on the other, try to split column power to more than one move. So you have like specific moves for the seeming and court, and then you have more than one catch-all move that is already somehow thematic. Maybe, I don't know, witchcraft or I don't have specific idea for that, but I feel like it would be a good idea to have this because a lot of things we do in Changeling is like very hard to pin down to specific moves. So you need some kind of general catch-all for that. But it would be nice to have it more tied to the playbooks and to what people can or cannot do. So the Morosa as a witch is really, she can do witchery or rituals or something, right? And this was one idea. Sorry, I would just go with the second one quickly. So the second one is, I know that I think I already wrote that to you, OL, earlier, that I feel that replacing clarity with glamour in some way would be fun, because you already have a question about how do you feed, what emotions you like, and then it would introduce the place for scenes of changelings getting their glamour.
I will say, yeah, but one of the things is I get what you're saying there, but we haven't hit the glamour mechanics. Now you guys have hit conditions, and that's the point at which we're going to see that how glamour plays out, because that's where that comes into play.
Yeah, I'll say I'm actually really excited to hit those glamour mechanics. I'm intrigued by how you set those up, and I do want to see those in play.
Yeah, we'll see how those work. It may not solve the problem that you're mentioning, Machi, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Anything else? Can I ask for roses then? I'll politely ask for roses then to finish this out.
Well, to a certain extent, I feel like this is a play test, so we want to make sure that we hit any corners that might be an issue.
Right.
As far as roses, from my perspective, I did some searching looking for images of my character and stuff like that, and struggled with it. But the NPC list that you created for this is so fantastic. All of these pictures are so evocative.
Oh, I love them.
Feed into everything. I'm just really excited just to look through the pictures. I see that you've added some towards the bottom that are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. And I don't know how you were able to find all of these great pictures.
Years of accumulating changeling images. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
All right. Sherry?
Gosh. I'm not sure how I've engaged the system or something, but I'm kind of playing the changeling game that I want to play. So I don't know if that's just pure GM and player thing or if it's the system, but I'm having a good time. I don't know. To me, the system doesn't get in the way of having a good time, but I am disappointed that I'm not getting any XP. So
okay.
I didn't mean to thorn it up. Sorry. That's
no,
already
but
been
that's
said.
good.
I would like to, I think all of us are like really super playing our both our kith and our seeming. I mean, we're really down in there. So I would love to be rewarded for that, but I'm rewarded every time someone's doing those things. So I'm enjoying it anyway.
Okay.
So,
that's interesting, tying back an XP thing for did you express your seeming, did you express your kith?
Yeah.
Would be a couple of interesting questions there.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I think that's how most Apocalypse World games go is, do what you want to do, and then we'll figure out how to get the mechanics to fit that. And they're like she said, they're kind of getting out of the way, which is really nice. And I got a second that I think everyone's role playing everything really well, and it's just really immersing everyone in the world. I really like that.
Yeah, I think if I would add anything else is, did you express your humanity would be an interesting one as well.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
You could look, Impulse Drive has those things called foibles. So you can take, you have a list of foibles. So here it could be like our disadvantages of our kiths and seemings. And when you roll, you can invoke that foible and say, okay, I hate, I don't know, ogres or beasts or whatever. So when I'm interacting with Morosa or someone else, I'm going to take a disadvantage. And it doesn't give you anything else, but it gives you a chance to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And people are doing that. I mean, that works. I wasn't sure if it will work when I was first GMing Impulse Drive, but it works wonderful. And I feel that it could fit nicely here for those quirks that kiths and seemings have.
Okay. All right, I'm going to keep that in mind. We're going to check that. Let me do my one thorn that occurs to me now, and then I want to get roses from Machi and from Zach's, from Patrick. I did the take advantage rather than the +1 forward because I'd seen that in the Veil and stuff. I'm not sure I dig that. The rolling 3 dice and taking two highest. I almost prefer just the +1 forward, so it's easier to calculate. Especially online where we have an online roller. So that's my minor thorn there.
Actually, I like the advantage. So to be honest, in 5th edition, they have the advantage and disadvantage mechanic, and I don't really like it there because it's more swingy.
Okay.
In this case, I do like it because it's more swingy. So it means you either succeed better or you fail worse, and that makes for a more interesting story. So I kind of like that so far.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Machi, any roses?
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, I'm playing a Changeling game, and I love it, and the images are wonderful. I mean, for me, this is fantastic because I played a lot of Changeling in my time, and it's completely different now with you guys. So it's something new and it's magical, and I like how this structure that we played, that we had some joint scenes, some one-off scenes, and something together. I like the NPCs. I like the characters. I've loved. I think all of the scenes were really cool. So it's nice magical feel.
Oh, good. And Patrick?
I'm having a great time too. It's been a long time since I played something new with Changeling, and the game I have been playing is a mixed Changeling and vampire game, so it goes real dark. And this is not like chipper and lighthearted, but this has got more of that magical Changeling sheen to it that I sort of missed. I absolutely love the other characters. Like, I love how much Morosa is willing to get in and just do whatever with someone and come up with great ideas to collaborate. I adored that end scene with Camilla, like laying there tragically in the smoke and water, her outfit artistically burned away, just looking like the world was ending. And I love Thicket's sort of mix between, like, it's this weird, not even dichotomy, but tripole of he looks like this child, but he's got these adult ideas, but he's also got this wild beast inside of him, and it makes this weird, complicated mix. And Lowell, I really enjoy how much you're willing to take unexpected situations or like a weird twist on a particular question and just swerve it in and roll with it. I'm loving this. Mechanically, to build off something Meichi had said, I sort of like the simplicity of Call on Power and Invoke Contract.
Okay.
I think, in informing the choices you make there by what and who your character is, I sort of like that situation of the mechanics moving to the side and just saying, like, here, just look at two things and decide between those.
Okay. Make a note of that. I'm going to do here. I'm going to say something. So Roses is, I really love the characters I did, and that is often true. I love these characters. I love your characters. I mean, I was so excited last time after character creation, and I loved that end scene, and I loved every bit of it today. So I'm really digging it. Just absolutely, it's what I want from a Changeling game. These kinds of characters, this kind of play. So I am digging it. So that is my rose. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Meichi, I'm sorry we won't see you next time, but we'll see you for session 4, right?
Good.
Okay. All right.
Do we have new people coming in for next session?
I don't think so. I will check and see. I kind of don't want to bring in somebody midstream. Okay. I know there's a wait list, but I'm going to check in and I probably would just keep it to the 3 of you for that. Okay. So I'm going to stop the broadcast, and there we